Hey everybody, I'm having kind of a problem here. I was messing around with the Forza switch and I kind of got turned into this little thing. I don't know why I look like this, or why I have a chain coming out of my head, but can someone please turn on a Forza driver somewhere and fix me? I'm just kidding, guys. I know, I wanted to make something stupid as a beginning. This is actually just a neat little keychain I picked up when I got the latest series of Switches. Switches! I have Forza on the brain now! I meant Wizard Rings. So that's right, I have the Wizard driver on my waist again. And here it is. It's already on. Shut up. And, what I have are a couple of Gashapon rings. So let me show you a difference between the Gashapon rings. Here is the Kick Strike ring, deluxe version. As you can see, it's painted all the way around. And here is the first of my Gashapon rings, and as you can see, only the top half is painted. But that's okay. How many times are you going to be looking at the back half? Anyway, so what rings do I have? Well, I broke down and ordered this. I have the driver on ring. Looks exactly like it does in the show. Looks exactly like this hand here. So let me switch the thing back on. I still love that. Alright, here we go. I wish this ring would actually turn the toy on instead of you have to flip the switch on the bottom to turn it on and then use the ring. Oh well, c'est la vie. Now, I'm going to put on the Kick Strike ring, as I'm going to need it, because I finally have the complete thing for my Henshin rings. So here's my Gashapon Hurricane ring. So Henshin. Alright. That's Hurricane, and I like how he says Hurricane. So, let me do the Kick Strike now for you, and let me tell you, I've listened to the Kick Strike for land. Land sounds too similar to water for my taste, but Hurricane, you're gonna hear exactly what you think you're gonna hear. And then some. Kick Strike. Kick Strike. Side-ho! Yeah, that wasn't a dragon roar again. That was a, gale force wind blowing at the beginning. So, here, that's the Hurricane ring. It's Gashapon, but it still works as well as the deluxe. Now, if only I had the Wizard sword gun to go with it. Oh well. Next ring, the brother ring that would go with the Wizard sword gun and the Hurricane ring. Of course, we got the Land ring. The yellow topaz ring. Gashapon, as I said. Now reset. Henshin. No. Please. Alright. That's land. And there is land forms, or land styles face. So now, one more time for the Kick Strike, and listen to what I was talking about. Remember the water sound effects for water Kick Strike? Listen. Kick Strike. Did you hear that? That was supposed to be like boulders falling or something. Or like a landslide or something. That sounded too close to the water sound, to the water splashing sounds for water style. I mean, it's different enough you can get by, but I don't know. Maybe my ears are just clogged. I don't know. and it's just sounding that way because my ears are clogged. I don't know. But finally, I have a completely different ring. Yeah, anybody else recognize that? This is the Decade Wizard Ring. They are producing wizard rings for other riders, just the same as Double had his other rider Gaia Memories, and O's had the other rider O Medals, and Forza, of course, had the other rider Astro Switches. Wizard is, of course, going with the gimmick and getting his own other rider rings. This is the Decade ring. It looks exactly like Decade's face, only in like all metal. They even have the little yellow light up there on the top of his head, which conveniently is also on every wizard ring, every Henshin wizard ring's head too. So that kind of works out for both riders. But anyway, I don't know, maybe it's just because I have the Gashapon version, but mine works in both modes. I can get this ring to do its sound effects, or cause this thing to do the ring's sound effects in both modes. Although I've seen people use other rider rings, and they only work in one mode, and I believe that's Lupachi mode. So maybe it's version specific. Maybe Gashapon works with both versions, and DX only works with Lupachi mode. I don't know. But I have seen it work out like that for other people. But I do know we have the Decade ring. I believe there's a Den-O ring. I know there's a Forza and O's ring. And there is I believe it's a Nego, Kamen Rider Nego, the second ever Kamen Rider, rings out right now. So, you know, out of those available, Decade, Den-O, Nego, Forza, and O's, pick whichever one is your favorite. I was able to find Decade. Where I shopped, they didn't have any other rider rings, so this is the Decade ring. I'm quite happy with it, and I love the sound effect these rings produce, and from what I've seen, they all produce the same effect. What'll happen is, when I pass it over the belt, it's going to, say, Decade, and then it'll produce the same sound effect as if I was using the Deca Driver, which I do have, by the way. The Deca Driver, you know, the activation sound effect for that, the Henshin sound effect for that, and then it'll go, Rider, Rider, Rider! I've no idea exactly what that entails for Wizard in the show or movie, if that entails anything, you know. Because, like, I know Forza was supposed to be able to use the other rider Astro Switches, and when he activated them, they would summon the other riders. I think that's how it worked in the movies. So I don't know what'll happen for Wizard, if anything happens at all with these other rider rings for Wizard. Maybe he'll be able to, you know, magically, not mastically, I don't even know what mastically means, magically summon other riders. So, you know, if Haruto needs help, he can summon Tsukasa with the Decade ring. But anyway, I've talked enough, so I'm going to show you both modes. It works on either mode, but let's start with Henshin. I'm just a passing through Kamen Rider. Henshin! See? Both eyes light up. Alright. And it produces an orange light, I've noticed, which is about the only thing I've seen make an orange light in this thing so far. So, let's go over to Lupachi mode just to prove my point. Lupachi, let's go. I have no idea why this works with both modes. And, you know what, let me test something. Oops, wrong ring. Should be in Decade mode now, so, let's see. Okay. Apparently, if you try to use the Decade ring with the Kick Strike ring directly after that, all you're going to get is the Fire style Kick Strike. So yeah. So you can kind of mess around with it, but you're not going to get much out of it. So, do I recommend that you buy these babies? Yeah, I do. Driver on isn't totally necessary. Like I said, the switch is on the bottom of this thing, and this ring does nothing but produce sound effects. But still, it's a cool looking ring, and if you're gonna role play as Haruto, go to a convention or something and role play as Haruto, you kind of need this ring since he's walking around with the thing on anyway, all the time. And of course, if you want to be complete with your mode changes, you gotta have the and no, that's not my middle finger. You gotta have the Hurricane ring, and of course you gotta have the Land ring. So, you know, now I have fire, water, earth, and air. Guardians Unite! Sorry, I used to watch the freaking witch show. You know, we are witch. Looking back on it now, stupid show, but the song was catchy as all heck. And the Decade ring. I enjoy this ring because it looks amazing. This is very good detailing all around for the face. I mean, that is spot on Decade represented in, what is it they call it? In the stones, like in these rings, it's called Mahozeki, which I believe just means magical stone in Japanese. So I'm guessing this is Maho metal or something. I don't know, because I don't think that's Mahozeki for the eyes. It could be wrong, but I just enjoy the overall look of this thing. I mean, this is very good representation of Decade, and this is a relatively small thing, so that's a hefty amount of detail to get in. I mean, let's look at the Hurricane ring face, alright? Or all of the faces, let's face it. Wizard's face is nothing but a gem with some visors over top of it. You know, that's the whole face design for the helmet. It works for Wizard, but it's very plain. I mean, you take away the visors, that's all you got. It's just a gem for a face. So, you know, it's relatively easy to produce a Wizard ring. Henshin ring, anyway. But, you know, Decade has a more complicated face design, so I enjoy that they nailed this. They nailed it. And, you know, I'm not a huge Decade fan, but, you know, I like Decade. I think the ability to turn into other riders is cool. And I just enjoy how much detail there is in this. So, final recommendation. Are the rings worth it? Yes, if you want to be a completionist with your Henshin rings. Yes, if you want to cosplay as Haruto, you gotta have the driver on ring. And then Decade, and from what I've seen, all of the other rider rings all look fantastic. They all just look spot on. I mean, Forze looks completely appropriate. And from what I've heard, there's two versions of Forze. One is for his base states, which has the red eyes. You know, so just like how Decade has green eyes, the Forze ring would look like Forze's head and have red eyes, just as he did in the show. And then I believe there is a version that is for, from what I've read, is supposed to be for cosmic form. I could be totally wrong, and that's just somebody trying to hawk some stupid crap. But if that's the case, then that'd be pretty cool. And of course, O's looks spot on. It's the complete representation of the Taka head. Haven't really gotten to look much at Dino or Nego, but from what I can remember, they do look pretty spot on for the helmet design. So I am very impressed with the other Rider rings, and if you can find them all for cheap, I would recommend getting them, because the Wizard rings, they're small, they don't take up a lot of space. You know, the driver itself is going to take up space, you know, with this belt and everything, and of course the Wizard sword gun is going to take up space, but you can collect a lot of rings and it not take up a lot of space. You know, and like I've said before, you know, you have 5 fingers, or 4 fingers and a thumb on each hand, and let's see if I can pull this off. I kind of can. You know, there's all 5 of the rings I've shown you. One hand. And if I had some more, sadly I only have 2 more. I have the flame ring and the water ring. If I could get them all on that, I'd be totally blinged out. You know, and these things look pretty cool. And if you can get the ring size adapter, I would wear one of these all day. Just to get people to look at me like, what in the world? But, in final, yes, I do recommend these rings, because I'm a completionist, and I think, you know, if you're going to have the Henshin ability, you might as well have them all. So, you know, if you're going to be able to transform, you might as well transform into all the forms that the particular Kamen Rider for that year has at the beginning of the show. So, yes for completion, yes for cosplay, and yes because the Rider rings are looking fantastic. I have not seen a Rider ring that does not pull off the look of the Kamen Rider yet. So, I would recommend it, and once again, the Wizard Driver is good, clean fun. So until I see you next time, it's always showtime.